Is it afternoon? Hello, everybody. Well, you already know my name. It's been mentioned. The three of us, myself, Prue, and Kerry, and whoever else is from Kulila in here, I'd like to welcome them as well. As you can see on the slide there, that we like to acknowledge the Jarawoir and Giabul people and the Wakka people and the carers and traditional custodians of the land where we are today. As we acknowledge the local people, as well as I'd just like to acknowledge all the other mobs that are around here and their traditional owners as well. I'm originally from Melbourne myself, so the acknowledge the Wurundjeri elders, past and present, and upcoming ones also. All right. As I said, Kulila. Actually, is there anybody in this room that knows a bit about Kulila? Anybody? Ron Hampton. I just seen you. Okay. Yeah. We're trying to find out how long we've actually been open for. Now, apparently, we go back to about 1993, so we've been trying to find out people who knows. There's been a lot of people come and go from Kulila, but no one seems to know the opening date. But if you can give us some idea, it'd be great. All right. As you can see, if you follow the slides there, we opened early 1990s as a community-based. Now, still, again, trying to find out the local people who started this off would be great. So anybody's here that knows who was first here with Kulila, that'd be great. It was a community effort, of course, but there was got to be some people who put up for the funding and things. I stand here today, and it's all about the kids at kindy. It's got nothing to do, I know we've got teachers and all that, but for us, it's about having the kids at kindy and the parents and grandparents that send their kids along. We're a federally funded model. We first started at Jack Martin Centre. This is where we're having the issue of when we first started out there. Then we went up to Harlexton State School, where we had this little room to fit 22 Jarjums in, and it was quite incredible. You couldn't fit them all in, and it had 3 or 4 teachers and a bus driver as well, so it was very small. And then we went on to Kulila now, where we've been close to going on 11 years now, down on the corner of Taylor and Mort Street. A great setup. With Kevin Rudd, when he finally went, he allowed us $2 million to spend on it. Okay. We're a parent committee, local mums and dads come on the committee, and committee members also. Again, federally funded, but we do our fundraising in other areas to promote the kindy, but also get some money in. We do a lot of fundraising when we can, and COVID has knocked us about a bit. All right. Learning through culture. There's a few, I don't know how many in this area at the moment have been trained in learning through culture, but it doesn't. Anytime there's a good thing, the government get rid of it. So, especially for us blackfellas, we try our hardest to get things that work to stay working, but the government want to change the names and do something else. All right, we have our philosophy, Prue, that we work through just as a whole kindergarten committee. It's not just the teachers, okay? But I'm going to let Prue do more of that. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Prue Kennedy. I'm the teacher director at Kulila Kindergarten. Basically, I grew up Charleville, Cunnamulla. That's where I've come from, and I've been in the early childhood industry over 20 years. I think I lost count at the 20. Basically, embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture has been part of my journey in the early childhood education, and they are very focused on that. It hasn't been probably until Kulila that I have been able to be more confident and brave within my role as an educator. So even though I was Cunnamulla Charleville and had taught where I grew up, and I was a country girl, Kulila has allowed me to realise that educators and people in general need to be brave. We need to, and I've always been a big believer of relationships, and I think quite a few speakers have already talked about that. Know and listen and know the people that you're working with. Anyone who walks in my door in a classroom, they are basically my family for the year. I advocate for them, I look for their strengths, and as part of our philosophy that's up there, if I can just go to the next page, please. Basically, we aim to provide the high quality early childhood education and support services through a culturally appropriate setting. Any person, any child, any family who walks in, we are there to deliver that program. Now, the biggest thing is, though, is to be brave enough, to be confident enough, to be able to find out what your families want, what they're comfortable with. Because in Australia today, and I know Uncle just talked about traditional knowledge that Arnie had when she was working with him. We deal with contemporary as well as traditional history here as an educator, and that's trying to find out what those families need as a family, as a community, and then as individuals. So therefore those relationships are basically our baseline. What do we know of those families? As an educator, I can go into all those things on the screen. We are there to provide a quality education based around our curriculums of early learning years frameworks, Queensland curriculum guidelines, getting them ready for school. But all of that is nothing if we don't empower the families to speak up for their children, for them to be confident in an education setting. And I think that comes back to the goal that we were asked to talk about, which was, I'm going to put my dillies on, sorry, I can't see it. What is the importance of children connecting with their culture in the early years, and how do we facilitate that? It comes back to those families and knowing them and empowering them, but also knowing that they have to be ready for that next step of their journey within Education Queensland. As an educator, I've had to learn that it's okay to be wrong. You will get told you're wrong. And you have to be confident enough to go, okay, I stand corrected. You would, for example, on your journey of understanding what the families want and who they are. It's okay, you might Google it, and you might go, is this right? And my staff are very confident in telling me, Google's wrong. Come back and talk to us. And you go, no worries, I can handle that. You have to have that confidence to stand up because you're there for the children. You need to learn, you need to find out what they need and who they are. And it's hard when you're an educator learning that on the way. Crucial, Kulila has been crucial in that personal journey for me, but basically it's made me a stronger educator so that I can then give the children their play-based learning in amongst all of the curriculums that they need, but it also has to be embedded in their culture. And Kulila, being basically 100% Indigenous enrolment, that culture is very, very important. Next one, please. Before I got on to that, this is probably something we thought about, is who are the people that we are teaching in our classroom? I keep forgetting I've got sheets, in front of me and look at the screen. So basically, who is our community? It is the people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, as part of Toowoomba's meeting place. And that's the big thing. They live here, they return to country, they come back to Toowoomba, and there are many nations and family groups who have that free-flowing relationship with Toowoomba. And we've had to learn that and take that on as a strength, because we have many nations who live or move through Toowoomba. And so we've had to provide a culturally safe environment where children can acknowledge their culture and embrace it. If they can acknowledge and explore their culture within that safe environment, then we're empowering them to have that strength to then go on to further their education. So basically that being, belonging, becoming, which comes out of the early years learning framework, We embed every day. We talk about where they come from. We talk about who their families are. We always have the language map there that we have conversations with. It's not one day for NAIDOC Day, it's every day for our kids. We have those culturally safe conversations with our children and our staff every day. Just on Monday, it was really amazing to hear a grandmother say to me that she loved seeing her grandchildren's faces smile when they came into the kindergarten because they were reminded of their Aboriginality every day that they came into that kindergarten. So the fact that those children were empowered and had that pure joy of embracing their culture as they came into our kindergarten is the beginning of empowering those children ready for that educational journey. And on that last one, they were just some reflections that we had from some of our families about how important it is for their children. Thank you.
Can you turn the lights off? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kerry. My name's Kerry. I'm the Transition Officer at Kulila Kindergarten. I'm a woman from Kurma Nation. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone today, and I'm probably a little bit like Brother Conrad. When I get nervous, I'll probably have a bit of verbal diarrhoea, is what I call it. But anyway, here we go. Part of my job, all Kulila kindergarten children are given the opportunity for a smooth transition from kindergarten to prep at all state schools and private schools in a culturally safe and sensitive way through a holistic approach to the family wellbeing. That holistic approach is the child is the centre base, what that child needs. I'm nervous. But through that transitioning and the child as the centre base, it's really important for us to build those relationships and partnerships. And when we do that, it's not only just through the family and the child and getting to know the child, and we do our connection through heart to heart. We feel that holistic, the family wellbeing, is really important to work with the family so that it enables the child to be safe in an environment, in a fun-loving environment. Through their transitioning statements, we'll do an intensive program around that child on what their challenges may be when we pass them onto big school, we call it. So for those who may have extra challenges, we'll have a whole service providers wrapped around them so that when they go to school, the schools are ready for our kids at their level and not an expectation. The kids have got to be ready for the school. Our expectation is school be ready for our kids so that they hit in the floor with those support services before they get to school. A part of the Closing the Gap, again, is about building those relationships with government and non-government organisations. We get Queensland Health to come in and do hearing, speech, and we get Gorbury to come in for dental. We're yet to source someone to come and do eyes. So we have all that tested. So if there's any underlying health issues before they get to big school, we've tapped in on that, put the support services in around it so that when they go to school, they've got that there so that it isn't hindering their learning when they get to school. We also advocate and support children who may be developing a little bit slower than some of the other children, so we'll do those referrals to ECEI, which is early childhood, early intervention through NDIS, so that we can get some funding packages through for the kids to get them that extra support around speech, language, OT or whatever it may be to help bring them up to speed at development as a normal 4-year-old, 5-year-old development stage. So on that, I wrote some words of wisdom while I was sitting there. So if I can wrap it up in a nutshell, Kulila staff and committee, we dedicated to providing a caring, nurturing our Kulila children like our own children. in a safe cultural environment to enable our children to belonging and becoming on their life's journey to becoming strong, deadly leaders in their families, extended families and the community in the future. So I'm going to finish it off with one of our partnerships. We worked with the Department of Education with Early Years Count, and a part of that video and that we were in partnership with that we helped them make that using our kids from the kindy. So today we want to finish on that note and just to showcase that partnership and that video. So if you can hit the video button. So thank you for having us. Have a great day.
When they come to Kulila, it's all about culture.
It's just a sense of belonging, you know.
I think you need to know where you come from, to know where you're going, you know, and be proud of who you are.
Education is key. Like, I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't follow through with education. So if they can start off in a good environment like a kiddie as this, break down those invisible barriers before they get there, it's nice to see.
It's that pride in who you are is instilled in them at an early age, you know, it holds them in good stead.
We want Indigenous educators to show our children the pathway and guide them in culture, bring culture back, because we lost it and we really need to get that back.
So just being involved as an Aboriginal person with our people, mainly our younger ones, it strengthens them. You walk in here, it's like home. This is like a yarn circle all the time here. You know, it's bringing them all together.
These little footprints, following the footprints, to these little footprints, become the footprints of the future. Let's yarn about kindy.
Go online, search Yarn About Kindy or visit your local kindy to find out more.